I'm going to make the argument that blood pressure is not a disease. Now, hear me out. I know this is controversial, and I know there's an ICD-10 code for hypertension. It is considered a disease. It's a disease that requires medication, lifestyle changes, and sometimes aggressive medical treatment. However, most blood pressure is considered essential hypertension, which I find is a funny word because there's nothing essential about high blood pressure, in a way. But hear this. Blood pressure is really, for most people, unless you have a adrenal gland tumor or a thyroid issue, some underlying serious medical condition, for most people it's a lifestyle problem. For most people, high blood pressure is simply a reaction to a lifestyle challenge. Whether you're smoking or eating crappy food, or you're extremely stressed, or you're not getting enough sleep, you're not eating the right foods, your blood pressure is a reflection of that. It isn't its own entity. The real culprit, and if you want to treat high blood pressure and treat the cause of high blood pressure, then those are the things that you really want to focus on. You see, the reason we have high blood pressure is because the arteries are starting to become less compliant and less pliable. When the arteries become less compliant and less pliable, they stiffen. So it's like a fire hose that just has no ability to expand. When that happens, the pressure inside the artery goes up. So if we know that high blood pressure is really due to hardening of the arteries and a lack of pliability to the arteries, then why treat the number? Why not treat the hardening of the arteries? And if the hardening of the arteries are really a result of lifestyle choices, then why aren't we altering our lifestyle? Maybe if we're smoking, we can find treatment to stop smoking. Maybe if the food that we're choosing isn't healthy, maybe we can exchange one food for another and try to become healthier. If you're not getting enough exercise, or any exercise for that matter, it almost doesn't matter what type of exercise you do. Just doing something can have physical benefits of losing weight and stimulating nitric oxide production in the body. You can just have mental benefits from exercise, of feeling better, less anxiety, less stress, less cortisol. But ultimately, when we think of hypertension as a disease in and of itself, then we set it up on a pedestal and think we've got to knock those numbers down because that's the disease, is high numbers. Thus, low numbers means you're healthy. But I'm going to tell you, you could take anyone who smokes, who eats crappy food, who's highly stressed, they don't produce enough nitric oxide, they have high cortisol, and give them enough drugs to make the numbers look good. But because the numbers look good doesn't necessarily mean that you've treated and solved the cause of hypertension. These are my thoughts, and these are the thoughts that I have during the course of a day when I see patients that have stress and they're full of cortisol and they don't produce nitric oxide the way they should. They're not exercising. They're eating bad foods. And maybe they come to me with physical complaints. Let's say shoulder pain, knee pain, back pain, hip pain. And a particular percentage of their problem is something I can fix. But I know deep in my heart that I could help them better if they could become healthier people. Because surprisingly, the same lifestyle that causes the numbers to go up for your blood pressure are the same lifestyle choices that make a difference in how we perceive pain. I'm being distracted because there's this lady riding this little scooter. and she's riding around the bank here, and it's kind of cool. Now, not to get on my soapbox here, but you know, there used to be a time when no one had the motors. You either rode a bike, walked, rode a skateboard, even skateboards. I don't see a lot of kids on skateboards anymore. They're not pushing with their muscles. They're not really exercising. They're all on scooters. Anyway, that's another subject for a different time. What are your thoughts about blood pressure being a disease, where we just think of it as a disease? I hate the word essential hypertension, but the majority of blood pressure diagnoses are considered essential hypertension, meaning unknown cause. I don't know, man. I think there's a cause. I think there's a reason why people have high blood pressure, and I think doctors know it, but they just don't have the time or inclination or whatever to jump into that wagon. Because clearly hypertension and high blood pressure is a hardening of the arteries. It's a lack of compliance of the arteries. Thus, the treatment needs to be to treat the pliability of the arteries. And how do you do that? For a lot of people, lifestyle choices can make a huge difference. If you'd like to know how to really handle this blood pressure problem, and you want a solution that's free, you don't need to give me your email, you don't need to pay anything, it's not $4.99 per month or anything like that. I have a free guide, and it's this video right here. Watch it, take notes, and get to work getting yourself healthy.